What's the worst time you accidentally cheated? Don't worry, we won't tell. Let us know in the comments below. The first time I used Animate Object, I had to rush a macro due to the many rolls. I forgot to deactivate the proficiency or ability score bonus, forgot which one, but the result is the same. It was hitting way harder than it should have. We realized it only after the session. I wasn't keeping track of my spell slots early on in the campaign. I'm a new player, and I may or may not have used an extra few first level spells and a second as well. I have since gotten much better. I fucked up in our first session thinking I get 2 spell slots for each spell, not for all of them. I only had 2 spells back then, so it wasn't like a very drastic game course changing cheat, but still. I said our small wyverns would attack and fly by, meaning they'd fly past and out of range again. Not knowing that flyby is an ability some monsters have that makes it so they don't provoke opportunity attacks. Saved them probably, but the DM was not really happy, which I can understand. Used Moonbeam wrong for an entire campaign. Basically ended up doing double the damage every turn. We did damage with Moonbeam when I moved it into them and at the start of the turn. Thought the spell was just busted for ages. Turns out I, misunderstood how it worked. Not me, but my DM cheated me out of an easy victory. So we started an encounter, and the shaman on top of a cliff started a summoning ritual that would have awoken 2 shambling mounds a few turns later. My first turn, I shot a firebolt from 110 feet away that would have killed the extremely squishy baddie, but he counterspelled and ran for cover behind a rock. Later on, DM realized that Counterspell has a much smaller reach than Firebolt, 60 feet, and shouldn't technically be able to cancel my attack. We still managed to avoid the summons, but technically the danger should have been nipped in the bud the first turn. Honestly, I've very occasionally done something stupid, which is fudging my roll when I play online. I don't know why, I'm not usually a cheating player and I make an effort that rules are followed, etc. But sometimes I just get too attached to my attack landing or a cool narrative, and because it's online, it feels less real? It's a bad habit and I'm working on it. Don't know where else I could explain this to people. I rolled a fail, an 8. I went to say 8, but the word 10 came out of my mouth. It was still a fail. We knew we needed a 15 to pass, so it wasn't even an attempt to succeed. I never corrected it because there was some crosstalk that was distracting people, and it didn't affect anything anyway. If it did, I would have made it clear I said the wrong word. I also spent my first few campaigns thinking that when you rolled hit dice, you would add your con for every die you rolled, not just once. I was only using 1 or 2 HD at a time, so it wasn't much extra. This was a misunderstanding of the rules, and I've fixed it since. When you read the title and text before reading the subreddit, I was like, what? We are a group of friends playing D&D, and the GM is fairly new, but very D&D nerdy. And we probably do it all the time when forgetting to take out a weapon or shield, etc. Small things usually. We also play to have fun. Micromanaging everything unless all are on board can take the fun out of it too. It wasn't exactly a game-breaking cheat, but I have one similar to your example, where I used the spell Snare in an early level 4-ish encounter against a fairly powerful enemy. Essentially a homebrew revenant from Dragon Age, yes, in an attempt to restrain it and let our marshals wail on it. And it even failed its save, not realizing until a couple of rounds later that it had a cast time of 1 minute, which made it unusable in that combat. Fairly recently, I did an audit on my Armor Artificer character and found I forgot to remove an AC bonus from a past item and had 2 extra AC that wasn't accounted for. However, at least when I got to my health, I found I was 8 or so short, so at least I had a minor health nerf meanwhile, even though it was hardly comparable. I misunderstood that when you gain proficiency in a skill, that's an on-off thing. I thought it could stack. So if my background, class, and race gave me proficiency in persuasion, that's +6, and my +5 from skill makes that +11. Until I rolled a 31, my DM saw the number on the die and just said, "Oh, hey, how are you figuring that bonus?" We had a good laugh because I was a bard, this was our 8th or 9th session, and it was literally the second time I tried persuasion of any kind. So not like I was steamrolling the game. I was playing a sorcerer in a mission to invade an evil circus and rescue people. Well, it turns out the ringleader knew what we wanted to do and gave a speech before trapping us in a room with a dilemma. Save the girl trapped on the table or escape before a dragon and her friends tear us apart. To help out, I used Distant Spell on Shocking Grasp so that our wizard could get away from the dragon before using Quickening Spell to cast Knock on the door just in case it was locked. You're not supposed to use those two meta magics on the same turn. Whoopsie doodle. In our Giga campaign, I play as a human male warrior and always thought that the action surge gives you a second action and a 2 times movement speed. No one, including the DM, knew and or noticed it. And it lasted for a year and a half, until I decided to reread the rules book for the funds. First time me and my friends played D&D. I'd never played any TTRPG before and was stabbing a guy, then taking the hide bonus action as a rogue. Thinking back on it, we were stupid for not looking up rules, but it's funny to think. Stand up, stab, crouch. We went like 3 sessions before we looked it up. I've accidentally been concentrating on 2 spells before, Summoned Demon and Darkness. It was a plot to overthrow a base, and the demon was fighting somewhere off-map where the DM just kind of rolled for how it was going, so I kinda completely forgot about it. We realized after the fact. I have a fighter that, for thematic reasons, uses both a polearm and sword in combat, not at the same time. I also have Polearm Master and will sometimes make the Polearm Master BA attack out of habit, even when I've switched to the sword. Most of the time though, my rule breaking just ends up nerfing myself, forgetting to add all my modifiers, forgetting I get to reroll 1s and 2s with Great Weapon Fighter, etc. Playing a Twilight Cleric, had my Twilight Sanctuary up, no concentration, great job! Then also had Moonbeam up, took that concentration, and I was either healing or attacking each turn. With all 3 of those, I was rolling dice on every single turn, mine or not, either to give my allies temporary HP, or to hit the baddies with Moonbeam, or to keep concentration. Yeah, I definitely forgot at least a few dice rolls that combat, and we would have won way faster if I had remembered. Playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition High Five, I didn't notice that the action Hunted Shot was only once per round, the action that gave me 2 attacks. So basically, I was making 6 attacks per round instead of 4 for like 10 sessions before I realized. Oops. Also, for those who don't play Pathfinder, which you should, you get 3 actions per round instead of just 1, with a multi-attack penalty. But Hunted Shot also ignores this penalty. Double oops. When I was still a pretty new player, my character found boots that let me cast haste once per long rest. I was playing a bard and I, A, thought casting haste with the boots meant I wouldn't need to concentrate on it, and B, somehow missed the part of the spell description that lays out the penalty when the spell ends. It took a couple of months before someone realized and was like, "Hey, how are you concentrating on hold person and haste at the same time?" It was an unintentional cheat. I was playing an ASMR Life Cleric Drake Warden multiclass. There was so much going on at the time, and what my plan was for my turn had been made void moments before my turn came, and now an artificial sense of time panic and decision paralysis came over me. I used my Celestial Revelation feature that normally uses an action. D&D Beyond definitely did not put this in a way where it was obvious. I cast Spirit Guardians while surrounded by a group of enemies. Use the part of Celestial Revelation that adds radiant damage to a target equal to character level on all the targets. Again, wasn't thorough in my reading of the ability. Then I cast Healing Word as my bonus action to save someone who was knocked down. Somehow, with the DM who is always asking how are you able to do all that, and I can normally answer it without issue, and a player who loves to find shenanigans in the rules, it still managed to go under the radar as if it was a totally normal turn. It was absolutely insane. Once I caught on that I did something weird, I brought it up to the table and they were like, don't worry about it, it saved us from a TPK and was thematically cool. To this day, I read my abilities line by line, and I take my time. When I started as a rogue in 4th edition, I misunderstood my ability, Riposte Strike. If I hit an enemy with it and they try to attack me after, I get to make an attack on them as an immediate interrupt. Now, I interpreted that to mean their attack is interrupted and doesn't get to go off. I ended up dueling bosses before we reassessed the rules. Also, I was level 3 in a 5th edition game, and an enemy spellcaster hit me with inflict wounds, dealing much more than my max HP and instantly downing me. We were shocked because the enemy wasn't that strong otherwise. Turns out when the stat block said he was a level 5 spellcaster, the DM thought it meant he could cast spells at level 5. I stacked a Vorpal sword with my Hexblade's Curse Crit modifier. For the uninitiated out there, a Vorpal sword instantly kills anything you're attacking if you roll a nat 20, with exceptions for creatures without heads or legendary actions, who instead take a ridiculous amount of damage. Notably, it does not say on a critical hit, but on a natural 20. I just glossed over that and started Vorpal critting on 19 as well because of my Hexblade's expanded crit range. Not the end of the world if it happens once, but I did it for a year. Probably executed or mega critted like 30 enemies that I shouldn't have over that time frame. I had a character who was a crossbowman. He at one point found a sentinel shield. I was using the magical benefits with it being on my back, but not giving myself the AC bonus. It was as simple as missing the when holding thing, or mixing it up with another item and thinking it's granted its bonus as long as it was on your person. So that lasted a couple of sessions before the DM asked me about it. And I think what brought it up was someone was trying to sneak up on us, and I was adding the perception bonus to my passive perception to prevent someone sneaking up on us. And he asked me if I was holding it, and if I was, how was I loading my bolts? It was given to a different character at that point. It had impacted a few encounters. I was a bugbear gloomstalker, and getting the extra initiative was giving me some very strong first rounds of combat. I felt pretty bad about it, but it was an honest mistake. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below, what was the worst time that you accidentally cheated? Hey, we won't judge, accidents happen. And if you ever want to keep the channel going strong and going long, make sure to join our membership program. It helps us make more videos for you, and you get early access to our goodies. We love you all, see you next time, toodaloo for now.